So there you go. So I'm live. Then what? How is this different than a camera? When I'm talking to a camera, I'm talking to the camera. When I'm talking to my computer screen, I'm talking to my computer screen. So nobody's watching. So what's the difference? How do I get people to participate with this? I know for some people, this is just entertainment. Right? Which, considering the format, I suppose it would be just entertainment for some people. But for me and my family, and for John, I'm sure it's not entertainment. It's real life. Right? I'm wondering, I'm not hearing anything. The volume is on. I suppose if I go to my own channel. How does this work? I'm just experimenting here, people. Right? You know, I'm trying to tell myself, what would John want? You know, what am I supposed to do? I mean, obviously, John's not in control of this situation, right? I'm pretty sure of that. I'm going to go to my channel here and see if it was picking up a lot of noise the last time. No, not there. I don't know how my son got that. I don't know how he got that up. Maybe if I make it smaller. Oops, that didn't work. No, still on. Just wasting time here. What's all this stuff? You got a cameraman and you got capture and questions and answers, as if I got time to try and figure this stuff out. Screen share, don't even know what that is. I could draw something. So what would my dad want? What would a man want after 23 years of growing up in a household full of kids? Well, the kids growing up in the household with him. But it was kind of like he grew up there with them too, right? And what did he go back to? He went to a mirrored image. I'm looking at myself here, whatever. I don't want to look in the camera because this is a distraction. But he got a mirrored image in a lot of ways of his wife. A very bitter woman. Bitter before I showed up. Seriously. But I suppose it's good for the family to get together and have more than a weekend to air out their dirty laundry. You know, let all that emotional baggage go. Because God, I've had enough of it in my house, so I'm sure they're ready for theirs, right? You know, unless, of course, they're the perfect family. Which I doubt. All right. And see, that's the thing about money. You can hide your problems a little better with money, right? You can insulate yourself a little better with money. I'm talking money, you know, $80,000, $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year. You know, that type of income bracket. That's not to say all his family members have that, but you know, they just can hide their problems a little easier. That's all. So back to the subject of what would John want? Well, I know he wouldn't want me to give up, that's for sure. Right? And I'm not, for crying out loud. I'm gutting chickens. If that's not giving up, like I'm not giving up, people, right? I don't know what is. Right? Ate some of it tonight. It was okay. It was an old stewing hen. It could sit in a pot for like 6 hours. But whatever. Cost of food is expensive these days. I'm already panicking. And I haven't even really got into all of it yet. I'm like, well, be careful how you eat it, because before you know, there won't be none left. You don't have, the resources to stock up again. You have to remember, people, when I moved into this house, I came in with 8 and I ended up with, well, no, I came in with 7. Sorry. 7. John, his wife, me, and 3 of my kids. 3? Who came in with me? 3. Myself is 4. So 6. How did I end up with 9? Andre was number 9. Because after I moved in, then, I don't know, my daughter got pregnant and tried to, help her. Eventually, my help did kick in. It took a while, though. And then she moved in. And then her boyfriend moved in for a while. I actually rented out the room one time to a homeless person. His name was Ken. That's how I secured the recovery houses and that type of thing under the trademark. And he thanked me. He thanked me for giving him an opportunity to stay out of jail. The longest he had been since, little, 12, 13, 14, that kind of thing. But I have a lot of people going through this house, right? 9 at one point when Andre was here too. It was crazy, man. My dad's wife wasn't an easy person to live with. Not at all. Any more than my daughter is easy to live with, my oldest daughter, right? She's not necessarily easy to live with either, so. And I suppose some people could say that about me too, right? But, I started the food storage. I had to think about everybody in the house, including John's wife. There was no time limit on when she was going to go to her care facility. She was quite happy to be a troublemaker in the house. It gave her something to do. It made her feel powerful, right? It empowered her in her weak body state and weak mind state. It gave her power. It got so bad, people. I'd be sitting here working on the computer or doing dishes, in a good mood, feeling content with my life, even though it's just chaotic, right? And work never ends. And then all of a sudden, some shit would happen downstairs and I'd hear it. And initially, I used to go down and I'd get caught up in the fucking fight, right? And because I had to throw myself in the middle of everybody, of course, my voice got louder, right? Now I'm kicking people out. Get the fuck out, right? You don't want to get along, just get the fuck out. I don't care who you are. And if you ask my kids today, they'll tell you the same thing. My 19-year-old, I'm still telling her to get out. She's been telling me she's been wanting to get out since she's been like 16 or something stupid like that. Because her native friend got independent living. And my daughter figured, well, I should get independent living too, right? But she was a good kid. She went to school, and when she went crying to the social workers of how, miserable her mom was treating her, right? Social workers was like, well, you got food, you got that, and, work hard in school and, turn of age and go make your money and leave. Well, she still hasn't left. And I have 0 patience, just go away. So anyway, I saved a lot of food. 9 people, that's a lot of people to feed in case of an emergency. Right? And everybody gets cranky when they're hungry, right? So that's kind of one thing you want in the house, right? To some degree. But what would John want? I don't really know anymore. Other than, I know he wouldn't want this. I mean, we talked about a lot of things. And we talked about somebody coming after him one day, right? Going for his pension plan. We knew it was somebody within the government. Some fucking government agency, something. They were just waiting for him to get old. No, they could see that his body was falling apart. They weren't stupid. These social workers and shit coming into my house, they weren't fucking stupid. They were, just let the clock tick for a little longer. It won't be long. Not maybe everybody, but I'm sure some of them. And this one sitting up in this freaking care ward, they just type in your name and your name comes up in their fucking system. We had a little meeting and she asked me what I do. And I said, well, I work on a nonprofit. She goes, And just went on to the next topic. So no surprises there, right? Not like she respects it. From the UK yet. And that's a double trouble, right? Because a lot of this stuff that's happening here in Canada is originating from Britain or the UK or wherever, right? It has something to do with the UN. It really does. This is not normal for people just to be fucking up and gone. Now, I've had some time to think about it, and I'm thinking, they probably just signed him out for a fucking car ride. We're just going to sign you out. He probably signed himself out. But I was trusting in the system. I was trusting in these people, right? Somebody suggested I try and sign him out. But it was already confrontational. It was confrontational from the first time I fucking talked to the first social worker before John had even cleared up his infection yet. I mean, if he hadn't cleared up his infection yet, how are you to determine where he should go? And who are you to determine where he goes? Give the man the chance to fucking wake up from his infection. So we never planned. We knew something was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. We talked about it, but we were trying to prepare for his untimely departure, whether it was through natural causes or whether it was through some meddling fucking bitch. Right? If it's through a meddling fucking bitch, it's directed at me. And that's all that is. If it's by natural causes, well, then his time is up. Right? So we made the choice to stay here for a couple more years, get my son through college, get my 19-year-old freaking settled with her post-secondary, whether she lives here or not, try to help my oldest daughter to reconnect being a mom, get Andre settled in, right? Give him that foundation so that when he gets older and life gets hard, he can look back on the good memories and that will get him through. Pay down the bills so that when John did go, whether it was by some bitch or whether by natural causes, I'm looking at the screen. I'm starting to cry. I could manage this place. I mean, what isn't that what people do after you live for 23 years if you're content for the most part for your life? I mean, we weren't content necessarily with the house. I'd put it at 75% content with the house, maybe more with the yard, right? But the house in general, 35%. uncontent and 65% content, right? Content enough to not, get busy and start stuffing up fucking boxes and driving all over town looking for another fucking shanty shack with new problems when you put them next to a $1 million home that's your neighbor. So it's reasonable to call these ones shanty shacks now. The old bungalows, right? So I shouldn't be surprised because we did talk about it, right? Just we were trying to prepare for it, right? Because that's what he wanted. He didn't want me to all of a sudden sink or swim, right? Natural causes, you have no choice, right? Funky bitches, you do. But he was so overwhelmed and overstimulated in that freaking care ward. They had him in a bed. Now, he used to work. I could do this for 8 hours if I want to, but I'm not going to. Right? I would have another cigarette, though. Right? But he used to work for the Parliament buildings, right? This is what got me interested in politics. And then eventually I just started listening to the debates and they're passing of bills and all this other crap. And we discuss it and just got me more involved. So anyway, he was a janitor for 25 years, Parliament buildings, right? That's how he has his pensions now. And he used to clean the premier's office smoking with a cigarette, He'd be cleaning the premier's office. He told me it's like in the old days, right? When, he used to go to the grocery store, right? And the little old ladies be over the meat section. Wouldn't that be funny? You can walk into the Safeway, right? Well, that's how bad it was. I mean, I remember going to the doctor's office and there's big old ashtrays, right? Everybody butting out their cigarettes before they're running off to go see the doctor in the waiting room, right? They're in the waiting room, going to the doctor's office. But anyway, he used to vacuum the red carpet that was in the Legislative House of Assemblies where they have their debates, right? And he'd be running around. He didn't always work night shift, right? And I got hair in my mouth. And you get this ding, 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 ding when they call everybody in from the halls to go have their debate or read their bills, right? So that's a pretty prominent sound for him. Well, guess what he was laying on in that care facility there for fucking, 4 weeks? 5 weeks or whatever it was. Some bed that kept ding, 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 ding. It woke him up like 3-4 times a night, right? His neighbor confirmed it because it would just go off. I have a recording of it going off. All right? Just sit on it and just start fucking going off. So I can only imagine how frightened he was with that. But I guess that doesn't matter. Because it was probably done with intent to overstimulate him, to frustrate him, to keep him tired, to confuse him, to scare him, frighten him. And then, he was complaining about his wheelchair and the brakes not locking. But I didn't get no results either, right? So what would John want? Well, I don't think he'd want me to pack up and go into some 3-bedroom apartment that's going to cost me almost $1,200 a month just for an apartment. And as soon as you move in there, you're going to get cockroaches, more than likely, because they're all low-grade apartments. They're not the new condos, okay, that you get less space for even more money. But these are the old shanty apartments that used to go for like $700 for a 3-bedroom. I moved in to one. That's how I know about the cockroaches, right? Anyway, I moved into one. Smoke. Yeah. So I moved into one. It wasn't even a couple of months before the cockroaches came in. So, of course, they came in and put their little food and whatever, right? Only lasted for so long. And then my rent was $800 for a 3-bedroom. Okay. I moved in 2000 and tail end of 2007, I think. I was there for 26 months. So what's that, 2 years? So maybe the first part of 07. Because I moved out on in December, in the fucking snowstorm, 50-year snowstorm. I got a video I'm going to put up with those pictures with voice recording in the back. You're going to hear it and you'll see. Okay. Because I used to go out and do a lot of community stuff, right? In the courtyard with the kids. I had Home Depot come in and they painted it. They did all kinds of stuff. I did all kinds of stuff. And the children used to come to my house at 6:30 in the morning, and banging on the door, and John would go to answer it because I'd be sleeping. Mama Lynn, Mama Lynn, Mama Lynn coming out. I'd be calling out at the window, right? Mama Lynn, Mama Lynn. And Uncle John would say, "Don't go away. You know, come back at 9. You know, come back at 10 or something. You know, it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. You got like these 3, 4 little kids standing at the door, and I want to play, right? That's like crazy. So anyway, oh, I don't even know what I'm talking about now, right? Going down memory lane here, right? And what was the purpose? Oh yeah, so moved in this apartment was $800. This was before they brought in a legislation that removed the rental caps. Okay. I went out, did all this stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I had this crazy neighbor, right, that was fucking cuckoo. And she was racist. She didn't like me going out in the courtyard and doing all these things with kids. And because a large proportion of the children were African, because it was more of an immigrant community, right? She tried to play it like I was being racist, but you're just doing things with African kids. And I'm like, well, there just happens to be more African kids that live here and, have your kids come, right? And of course she wouldn't. So, when you move into an apartment, you're going to get issues, especially if you're someone like me, right? That will actually, go out there and have fun with kids and invite the parents to come out and play with us, right? You know what I'm saying? Fuck. And the bitch was calling fucking cops on me and shit, and wouldn't let my dad inside, me inside one time. We held us hostage out in the freaking doorway, right? We couldn't even get up to our apartment, and she had to be a drama queen and get the security there. And I was like, fuck, man, it's my apartment, because we were right next to each other on the second floor. And she just wouldn't let us in for whatever fucking reason, because she was looking for a fight. And if I would have responded, of course, I would have been villainized and, whatever, and because she was a master of manipulation, something like my dad's wife, right? And so anyway, after a while, we got notices, and my daughter moved in, then my son moved in. So all of a sudden I had my 5 kids there. My dad was there, I was there. And then I even took on a foster child for about 3, teenager, right? Well, she was 12, right? She was not a child, not a teenager. She was 12 for 3 months, and then the freaking company started ripping out the windows. But when they brought in that legislation to remove the rental cap, what happened right across the province is anyone even watching? I can't even see. Oh, there is a viewer. Hello. Hey. I'm not alone. Wow. I'm sorry. My eyes are bad. I don't know how long you've been there for. You've been there for a while. I can't talk to you because I don't know how to hook up with that. It just says you there, right? So let me just finish this little story, right? What happened was, and this was a company, okay? This was I know I should be looking there, but I got to look here because my eyes. And I don't want to see myself, so I'll take off the fucking glasses, okay? So anyway, I'm just a bundle of emotions, you know. One minute I'm crying, next minute I'm laughing like I'm going cuckoo in the head here. No, I'm trying to tell you something. So this crooked legislation, okay, it just made people greedy, man. You know, not only did it made the proprietor of the property in terms of a single landlord with his house greedy, right? It made corporations that, you know, managed apartment buildings and that kind of stuff. So here you are, you move in, you've been there for a year, you pay $800 in rent, right? I had no welfare in those days, people. I was off welfare, right? And so you know, I got my baby bonus, right? And I was, you know, trying to do little costumes and stuff. Right? Okay, so anyway, and I'm working on this nonprofit like mad too, right? So you move in and your rent is $800. I wish I could hear what you're thinking, but I can't, right? And then you get a rental increase within a year, so they tacked on another $39. So my rent was $839, right? And along comes BC Liberal government. Here's the punchline, right? And what do? They release the rental cap. And next thing you know, I'm looking out the window and I'm saying, gee, John, there seems to be a lot of people getting fucking kicked out of here. And it was ruthless. It was ruthless because they just come in and take everything and put it outside. Just put it outside in the freaking parking lot by the fucking garbage cans. I must have seen that like 15 times. And then it came my turn. Because by that time, near the end, you know, don't forget, I got this crazy neighbor causing all this trouble. You know, and I was getting tired by this point because, you know, ripping out my fucking windows. And I'm in a little apartment with all these people and, you know, and they're not dealing with the fucking naysayers in the complex. You know, and when people come in and they do positive things and they, you know, set up craft tables and they bring out musical equipment and they bring out the fucking swimming pools and the things that the children can run through, right? And, you know, they do song and dance and they bring snack, right? Are you still watching? Okay. You know, those are the ones you want to keep. You don't want to keep the ones that fucking come out there with it. You know, I don't have a cell phone, right? But you know, you come out there and you're watching and you're scowling and you just, you know, and your cousin and the kids, these are little teeny weeny kids anywhere from age 2 all the way up to freaking teenagers, right? And they're aware of what's going on, right? And then, okay, so and then at the end, when, you know, you've been outside now, me, right, for the last 9 hours, I have to fucking clean up now, right? You know, in my meantime, my dad's holding down the fort as my kids going in and out. That's what he liked. And he'd walk the dog and, you know, do dishes or whatever he did, talk on the phone with his wife and just whatever he did, right? That was, you know, he liked that, right? And then that, you know, crazy neighbor would call cops on me just to have a fucking scene. And so that at the end of the day, you feel like crap. So everybody, you know, walks away feeling like crap. But what happened was my daughter moved in, my oldest son moved in, so I had my 5 kids there. And then my daughter tried to move in her boyfriend, and my son was trying to scare him away. And my daughter was still struggling with addiction, and the neighbor was still acting loony. And I was going into the 26th month, and along came some eviction notice. Okay. And I said to John, well, what do you want to do? You want to dispute it? And you want to move? You know, because personally, I'm getting tired of this neighbor. Right? It's not worth it. You know, because, you know, I used to do metal recycling. I'd gather up computers and just whatever. And I did it like old school, like the homeless people do out there. I fucking took everything apart and I, you know, stripped the wires and I took it all to freaking Amex freaking recycling center and I cashed it in and I took that money and I bought a fucking hockey net and I bought hockey, like, what do you call those things? Soccer balls, and bought snack and, you know, did the whole 9 yards. I don't know. It's all freaking receipted down. I don't know. I made a few $100s, you know, but, you know, it's like, you know, whatever, you know, and the company's painting the courtyard with Home Depot because I had Home Depot come in. I was DJing. I made lunch for everybody, you know, and next thing you know, they're giving me a fucking eviction notice, but they're still not dealing with the fucking neighbor. And when I was doing that recycling, because I used my car, right, really stands out, right? Old Betsy, it'd be loaded up with shit. I'd come and, and she'd be screaming out the window, garbage picker, garbage picker, and then she'd pit the kids against, she'd try and pit the kids against me, the ones that liked Mama Lynn. So, in the meantime, everybody else in the building's getting all fucking kicked out. This was after they did that rental cap and they removed it. So when that came, okay, it was winter time. I didn't have time to fool around. I had to think about it. I had 5 people and my 5 kids, John, dog, me, in the house. Been there, did my job, secured trademark name. Fuck these people. They don't want to stand up. And the company should have gave me, are you still watching? Good. The company should have gave me storage. I asked for storage. But you see, if they would have sided with me, they would have had to financially support me. And they knew it. It didn't cost them to get anything. It didn't cost them anything to go out there and freaking paint some rocks and some swing sets. That was just whatever. It was a party for a day. But they should have gave me storage. They should have gave me seniority. They really should have. And I would have stayed. But they didn't. So John and I, we decided, no, let's just get out of here. It's time to go. And then we ended up in that freaking fourplex that was grow up. That's a different story. Maybe you read it because I type all the time, right? So anyway, it was, I got the pictures. Crazy shit, man. It was a snowstorm. And I didn't want to dispute it. I just said, to hell with it. Let's just get out of here. Enough is enough. I didn't know it was going to snow. Right? And when the time came, I'm serious. The snow was like 3-4 feet high in some areas. It was, and Betsy got me through. By the time I got done, because I'd load up my car from the apartment into my car, and then I'd drive. It was fun, actually, at one point, because the snow was so high that it was a mound of snow like this. And coming into my new place, packed full of car, you can't see nothing, right? All you can do is see ahead of you, right? That thing can move 1,000,000 pounds, serious. And I'd be driving down the road, right? And then you got to turn, but everything is snow. Like you got tire tracks, right? From the snow, like this. So you have to goose it, go like this and just kind of let the tires get into the grooves and go, right? And then you'd be going down the road and it was like going down this freaking tunnel full of snow. That's how much snow it was. And yeah. And then upper management got wind that I was leaving, right? Because all I could think about was if I didn't get my shit out of there in time, they were going to throw it outside, because that's what they were doing with everybody. Everybody. Little did I know, though, that once those people moved out, and here's the moral of the story, is rent went from $840 to $1,120 in 1 month of an eviction. So why would I want to move back to that? I miss the kids. I'm always telling myself I'm going to go with the kids, but let's face it, I have a big yard. It takes up a lot of energy, right? That was been one of my downfalls in the last 5 years, is the yard. It's taken up way too much of my time. But I guess it's serving a purpose now, right? Because I have food to some degree, or at least I have the opportunity to grow food. And it's good for Andre. Very good for Andre. He needs that foundation. My kids had a good foundation. Yeah. We didn't have chickens, but they had a very good as they were little growing up. And it's helped them to be better people today. Although there are some people in our society that just don't appreciate that kind of shit, right? They seem to think that poor people are destined to be in some class that you just can never, remove yourself from, right? So, like the Punjabis, I was talking, right? You know, many of them, I don't know about all of them, but many of them have prearranged marriages. And it works for them. But I've also mentioned that as a collective, maybe as individuals, I can't speak for an individual, you know, but as a collective, not very happy. They're not very happy people. They have wealth and they have stability and, you know, they have that structure, but I wouldn't necessarily class them as happy. Right? No, whether they want to hear that or not, that remains to be seen. You know? So what would John want? You know, would he want me to move from here and go back into an apartment? The only reason I would go back into an apartment would be for the kids. That's it. But that's not a strong enough pull because I can go to Chuck Bailey's and be with the kids. I can go back to Gateway and be with the kids. I could book a little park event and be with the kids. Right? You know what I mean? And I'm not young anymore. You know, that was in 2007 and 2008 when I lived in that apartment building. It takes up a lot of fucking energy, man. 10 hours just outside because as soon as you're done one batch, a new batch comes in. And of course, they want to have their turn too, right? And their children. So how can you say no? And then you have to clean up and try and do all that in a little dinky apartment, stuff full of freaking stuff and kids and everything, you know. And that's what I mean. The management should have gave me some storage and maybe it would have been better. And they should have gave me some sonority. And so anyway, that's why we need the nonprofit. So the nonprofit can help to fund those types of things. Because in apartment buildings where there's lots of kids, we need that. But I don't know if John would want me to go back there and live when I tried so hard to make a home here. Right? I know he'd want me to be strong. And I'm trying really, really hard to be strong. And I'm already getting all teary-eyed just thinking about it. Because it's not that easy being strong. I said to my son tonight, I have to try and make some money here. I have no energy to make money, though. I'm gutting chickens. I have to work out in the front. I've already started. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, it won't take long. It won't take long. Don't think about before how long it took. Don't let it scare you that it takes a long time. Just think it won't take long and you'll get it done, right? Knucklehead, right? I'm talking about the yard, man. That front is pretty hilarious. Oh, and I'm still dragging home shit, right? That wood, huh? Think about it. Like, I don't know. I got a little bit of insurance money coming in. I borrowed it, right? That's it. I can't borrow no more. And I got my baby bonus coming in. We're supposed to save that baby bonus and pay down the bills so that we could pay on the visas. But that ain't happening now, right? There was a plan for that. All right, but anyway, I don't know. Are you still watching? I guess you are. Okay, I don't want to drag this on too much longer. I don't know. This is just really a test. I'm trying to be brave with this, okay? You know, right? You know, I said I was going to do it. I really want to, you know, focus on the nonprofit. It's kind of hard to focus here. I'll have one more smoke and then I'll get off. I really want to focus on the nonprofit, but it's very hard to focus on the nonprofit when you're focusing on all this other stuff. And if I got to pursue this on my own, because nothing is in stone yet with this lawyer, right? I can't expect him just to do it for me, all right? I have to be prepared for disappointment and be prepared to do it for myself, and, you know, because I'm not going to just let John disappear. I'm not. My kids deserve better than that. Andre deserves better than that. John deserves better than that. Right? You know, they can't, these people that done this, they just can't remove 24 years of memories. We never tried to remove his memories of them, right? We would never have denied them to come over. We were asking them to come over. We were asking them to come over and get Joan's stuff, for crying out loud. We were asking them to come over and visit Joan when she was in the care facility. I'm looking at myself. Right? I just thought that was kind of cool. I seen my eye go like that. I mean, this is some sneaky shit, right? And all I can think about is, I'm wondering what a Supreme Judge is going to think about this one when I go in front of him, if I have to on my own. Because this is going to go somewhere. It's going to fucking go somewhere. Serious. I guess they figure I'll just let it slide. All right. Maybe they're up for the fight. Maybe that's what they want. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that my kids didn't do anything to deserve this. So if I don't do it for John, then do it for the kids. Right? So, but I still have to work on a nonprofit. Okay? And it's kind of hard to separate myself from my nonprofit that I work on from my personal problems. Right? Because there's only so much time in a day. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. Okay, viewer number 1, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now, how do I stop? Push stop, push stop. Peace out.